So tonight we have Brandy Schade, and she is a Gallup certified strengths coach. I thought mine was muted. Okay, thank you. It was me. I apologize. She's been a coach for 20 years, and she's been dedicated to this for over 5 years now. In addition, she is a fitness coach and several other things. Her bio goes on. If you haven't read it, you'll just have to read it because I don't really know all the ins and outs. But I will say that she did a session for the Sabre Women's Exchange last year that I attended, and during that session I thought it was great. I used a lot of her advice with coaching my Scrum teams regularly, and at that point in time, I decided we would be asking her to speak with us at some time for DFW Scrum. So we are very grateful to have her here tonight. Thank you very much. You don't need this.
These are really sensitive.
An instrument.
Oh, maybe I need to walk away from that thing? Okay, that's better. You're going to have to turn it down, though. I'm really loud. I barely need this. Can people on the phone hear me? Do we have a way to test that really quick through this microphone? Hi, Mike. Can you hear us? Thank you for doing that. Okay. I'm mic'd. Can Mike hear us?
Yes.
Thank you, Mike. Okay. So I'm Brandy. I came around and met most of you to say hi and see what you guys are all here for, to make sure that we're catering to you tonight. I am a Gallup certified strengths coach, so I have been working with lots of individuals, lots of teams, lots of companies on how to, you can think of yourself as a strength-based person and how you interact with yourself and with others. You can create strengths-based teams of the people that you work with, and you can create strengths-based organizations, departments or organizations as well. So there's a lot of different layers and levels that you can bring strengths in your life, whether that's just within yourself, in your own interactions and the choices you make, or within a team that you're in. For a lot of the DFW Scrum masters, right, it's going to be understanding other people's strengths as well and learning how to navigate those and figure out what to do with those people to get them doing what they do best every single day, so that they're super engaged and their productivity is much higher, as well as you may have a bigger influence than just yourself or within your team. So it all kind of depends on you guys. Now, I know that a lot of you in here have never heard of StrengthsFinder. You're not even quite sure what it is. So we're gonna go from the basics. We're gonna go kind of fast through the basics, and then we're gonna actually look at some results. So since we have a small, intimate group tonight, you can ask lots of questions. So if you have questions, just ask, okay? I would much rather that you leave here with something that you came in here for that you would like to get out of it than going, well, that was good, but she didn't talk about this or she didn't talk about that. Just ask, okay, the minute that you guys have a question. Agreed? Okay, good. And if you're on the phone and you have a question, ping Victor somehow. How do they ping you, Victor? Just find your name? Yeah, there's a chat. And just tell them that you have a question and we'll get you voiced up, okay? Okay, so this is the man who started Gallup Clifton. They call it Clifton Strengths now, Don Clifton. They used to call it StrengthsFinder, so you'll see it named by both, okay? He said, what if we stop focusing on weaknesses? What does that look like? Okay, Don Clifton, I gotta make sure I go the right way here. Up, down, around, down, down. Sorry, I'm learning how to use my clicker here. There we go. So Don Clifton has a strength called Maximizer right here. It is number 5. Maximizers hate looking at weaknesses. They think it's a waste of time. They don't want to spend time there. They don't want you looking at their weaknesses. They just can't stand it. All they want to do is take something that's great and performing at a high level of performance and make it excellent and make it even greater. So what's another one of his strengths? Can you guys read this little small print up here? What's another strength besides maximizer? Focus. So now he's a focused maximizer, which means he just intensified that, right? He's not only a maximizer and cares about maximizing strengths, but now he's focused on doing that. What's another one of his strengths? Huh? Did he have strategic? I forgot. No? Significance. So now he's focused on making something significant, not just mediocre. So you can see where we're going with this, right? A focused maximizer, significant. I mean, this guy's really intense, and he really cares about taking things to that next level, exposing it, making it visible, and he's got a whole lot of focus and execution around making that happen. What else? Futuristic. So he's looking at what things could be 10 years down the road. He's not looking back at all. He's saying, what could this be? What could this look like? What's the opportunity here? Where could we go with this product? And what's the other one that's in his top 5? Individualization, which is the ability to look at an individual and see them as an individual and cater the interactions to them intuitively to help them be their most productive selves. So you can understand why he had a goal in his life to figure out what people are best at and get them doing that work and get them only spending time in that zone where they're maximizing themselves. Okay? So in order to do this, the first thing he had to do was he had to come up with strengths. So they had to do huge studies to figure out, okay, well, what are varying personality types? So they came up with 34 different personality types. So when you hear about Clifton strengths, this is what people are talking about. Okay, they're talking about the 34 strengths that all of us could potentially have. And what they do when you take the assessment is they order them from 1 to 34. So you have some things you're thinking about all the time and you're really good at, and you have some things that you ain't thinking about at all. And someone else that's all they're thinking about, okay? The numbers behind them, just so you know, guys, are the percentage of the time they are found across the population. So 20 million plus people have taken the assessment. This is the number of percentage of times that it's found. The colors we're going to go over, that is the leadership style of each strength. So don't worry, we'll cover the colors if you're wondering what those are. Okay, so looking up here, what are the most rare strengths? Significance, which he had. Command is only 5%. Discipline was 7%. Context was really low too. And I think we missed self-assurance, right? Self-assurance is around 5%, I think, too. So those are the most rare strengths. So do you think if a particular individual has one of those strengths that sometimes they feel misunderstood? Yes, because 95% of the population doesn't have it and doesn't understand it. Okay, what are the most popular strengths up here? What do you find the most? Achievers. That's my number 1. Learner. That's my number 2. Responsibility. Relator. That's my number 3. So I happen to have strengths that everybody else has, which makes me very relatable. Okay, which in my profession helps. Okay, so when you have all of these strengths that other people have, okay, you're able to relate with them and connect with them much easier than if you don't have any of those. So some people don't have any of those. They have all the rare strengths, and those people have a much harder time connecting and being understood and, translating who they are outwardly because people just don't get it, okay? Now, what Don Clifton said is he said, okay, so we have all these strengths. Now, let's test everybody, and let's see what their top 5 are. So he puts them in order from 1 to 34, but then chops it off and says, let's just start focusing on 1 to 5, and let's really look at who this individual is. So once they did that, they assessed, they gave you your top 5. Back in the day, you could only get the top 5. Now you can get the full 34 panel, which I think is really helpful because I think we also sit in our supportive strengths, our strengths 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and I think we need to know what's in the bottom so we can partner well with other people and know what we don't bring to the table, okay? And then from there, he said, okay, now we need to test it. Let's take these people, let's know them and get to know their strengths, and now let's try to get them doing that work all day long. Let's put them in roles and positions and environments where they can be successful. Let's get them not doing these things down here, but doing the things that they're actually really, really good at. Okay, so 90%, they did a study, and this is kind of hard to see up here, but it says 50,000 business units. Okay, the study was across 50,000 business units, 1.2 million employees, 22 organizations, 7 industries, 45 countries, okay? And 90% of the groups that experienced a strengths-based approach saw these kinds of results. So what was phenomenal is that they just went in testing this as a theory to see if this would even work, and they saw up to 30% higher profit returns. That's huge for a company making big millions of dollars. 30% is huge. Charles Schwab is a strengths-based company. How long have you worked there now? Huh? 6 months? Try and kind of move it down a little bit. He's worked there 6 months or so. Southwest Airlines is also a strengths-based company. It said, I found a statistic somewhere that said 90% of Fortune 500 companies are actually strengths-based organizations in some capacity. But turnover is going to go down, safety incidences are going to go down, or in Saber's case, what do we have? Outages, right? Outages should go down. Employee engagement should go up, customer engagement should go up, sales should go up, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Make sense? Okay. They also found that if people who have the opportunity to focus on their strengths every single day are 3 times as likely to be engaged, and 6 times, did I say this right? 6 times as likely to be engaged, 3 times as likely to report a high quality of life, meaning they're happier. So, are people more productive when they're sad or when they're happy? Why the hell aren't we having more fun at work? If we are happier or more productive when we're happier, we all have a responsibility to try to make it fun and have fun at work every day because we're actually more productive. That's kind of a weird thought, right? To go to work and actually have fun every day. I don't know, maybe it's just weird for me. Is it weird for you? Or is that like, yeah, why aren't we having more fun at work? We used to have fun at work back in the day when I was younger. I worked for an insurance company. They were fun. Insurance companies make a lot of money though. You know, they're not stressed. Okay, so Gallup also found that when you ignore somebody, so if I do this right now, for those of you on the phone, I'm turning my back to the room. I don't know if you can see that. Okay, how engaging is this?
No.
Okay, it's not ultra engaging. So 40%, when you're ignoring someone, there's a 40% chance of disengagement. So, that means 4 out of 10 people just leave the room. They'd be like, nah, I'm not doing this. Especially top performers. They're not going to do it. Some people will hang in there. They'll hang in there for a while, okay, but eventually they'll become disengaged. If you're trying to proactively disengage somebody, you just ignore them because that is the way to disengage them. Does that make sense? Okay. Then they said, well, what if we give them attention, but we're always criticizing them? Wife, you're not doing this. Husband, you're not doing this. Employee, you're not doing this. Friend, you're not doing this. You need to be more like this. You're not confident enough. You're not. Well, people are more engaged than if you ignore them, but there's still a chance of disengagement. Now, when they said, okay, let's focus on them, but let's just focus on strengths. Let's just focus on what they're good at. It's really hard to disengage them, guys. So 99% chance they stay engaged, they're happy, and they're never going to leave. Okay. Any questions so far? Thoughts? Is this exciting stuff? Okay, good. All right. I think people don't know about it. That is the one thing that has struck me amazed, is that I'll go and I'll be like, I'm sure you've heard of this. And people are like, no, never. Now, who took it in school? You took it in school? So some schools are starting to introduce it, which means...
I think for master's it's mandatory.
Yeah. Yeah, so sometimes you'll see these in leadership programs, master's programs, things like that, but why aren't we seeing it the minute we get into college? Now, for example, UTD has the business department has all of the students take it coming in. Now, they don't do much with it, right? They say, here it is, and then they expect people to go figure it out for themselves. But they at least do it, so at least, people might hear more about it. But that's why I think people don't use it as much. Because the people I know, like here at Sabre, because I don't know if you guys know, but I work at Sabre as well, that do know about it, they do use it and, work with the team members from a strengths-based approach, because it's so good. So a lot of people ask me, how often should I take the assessment? Should I retake it? Did you guys know that you are formed at 13? So whatever has happened up to that point has defined you. Your genetic code, everything, all your experiences, all your teachings, and everything pretty much is sealed the deal at 13. And you're going, Brandy, but I've changed a lot since I was 13. But all you've been doing is getting to know yourself from the time you're 13 on. So all you've been doing is having experiences and realizing what you like and what you don't like and what works and doesn't work. And you've been getting to know your brain and yourself and who that really is from 13 on. So if you take the assessment again, you might get a little shift in the top 10, right? But you're not getting anything from down in the bottom up into the top. And if you do, it's something to question. If you guys ever see that, if someone else takes the assessment, you go, what's going on here? Think about it this way. Okay, who stinks at math in here? Anybody? Okay, you stink at math, okay? You've probably stunk at math for a long time, okay? Is she gonna get great at math all of a sudden, guys? We're gonna focus on it and it's gonna get great? Yeah, it's not gonna happen. Like, she might be able to get good, but she's never gonna be excellent. Why? Because the people who were great at math when they were 5 years old are excellent today, because they've put all their energy and time into it, and they've just exponentially soared through it. So our goal with StrengthsFinder is to define what you're good at, what you're really capable of, and then feed that monster so that you can be excellent. Okay? So your strengths don't really change. Now, what about if you had a car accident? What changes when you have a car accident? Do you change physically? You could change physically. You could your nerves could change. Your hormones could change. So sometimes when you have a huge, big life traumatic event, pregnancy, having a baby, it changes things, and you may have a shift when big things happen in your life. Okay, so sometimes these things can change, but it has to be pretty traumatic. Questions on that? Okay. No questions on the phone either? Okay. All right. I also get asked, what is the difference between StrengthsFinder and all these other assessments? I've taken Myers-Briggs. How does that compare? There are 250 assessments out there. You can use any one of them as a guide for who you are, what you're going to do, what you should be doing. I like StrengthsFinder because I feel like it gets a little more detailed. I understand what you're motivated by. I understand what language you need to hear, what I need to say to get you motivated. I understand, what you're inclined towards. It doesn't mean that you've actually put energy into it and gotten great at it yet. It just means that you have the ability to be really good in that area if you choose to put your time and energy there and your focus there. Okay. I can't define what you're interested in, kinda. But kind of not. I got to ask. I got to say, what are you interested in? What's your skills? What do you want to do with your life? What environment do you want? So I have to ask a lot of other questions to get the full picture, to be able to help people with where they're going to go. But StrengthsFinder is a piece of it. And for you Scrum Masters, what it does is it creates a common language across the teams And if you create a common language across the team, now you can have some conversations that you couldn't have before. Like, oh, that's your activator that's pushing me. And I can say, that's my deliberative that's holding us back and making us make a little bit longer of a decision. So we can say that now without saying, you suck, right? Because you feel frustrated sometimes when someone's pulling or pushing you and you're the opposite. And so sometimes you need a language to that to say, you are different than me and I appreciate it. Maybe this isn't the right time for that strength. Maybe we need to do this at this time and this at this time. And like, let's figure out how to use it productively. Does that make sense, you guys? Okay. All right. There are lots of options for you guys who have never taken it. I recommend the full 34, $50. You get the whole gamut. From 1 to 34, you get to see who you are based on Gallup's assessment. You can take only the assessment that reveals only the top 5 strengths, which you may want to do if you're working as a Scrum Master. You may have a limited budget and you can just use the $20 to get everybody's top 5 strengths. If you have taken the assessment, you can pay extra and get the upgrade. You can pay the $40 and just get them revealed. You don't even have to retake the assessment. They already ordered everything. The first time around, they just didn't show it to you. Okay. Yes, Victor.
And that has been since this started, like I could say,
Since you started, you can go get the upgrade. They ordered them. Yep, they prioritized them from day one.
Whenever I logged in, I only had the first of the 5 to start with, and then I went in again today.
Trustee, you retook it?
No.
Oh, you just did the upgrade. Oh, it wouldn't even let you. Well,
I used the same email.
okay, good. So
I
she,
upgraded and
that's right.
said there's no need to.
That's right. If you use the same email, because the way they have their data set up is each email address is a person. So if you enter a different email, you can retake it if you want to. But if you've already got the email, they'll only let you upgrade, I think, right?
Right.
There's
Upgraded, and
yeah.
actually the question that it came up with was kind of confusing to me at first, because it was like to take the test now or to get your ID, and I was under the impression if I got an ID, I'd just take it again, so I just chose to get the ID, and then I had to go through help desk.
Oh, okay.
Totally just.
Okay, so if you need help, ask Tressie. She had to go through all of that.
It wasn't.
Yeah, Leo.
So when it comes to strength finders, does it at all measure emotional intelligence?
So, no, in fact, it doesn't measure competence at all. So if you have a 5-year-old, or we could do 13, if that's the cutoff age, and you have a 50-year-old, and they had the exact same top 5 strengths in the exact same order, who's going to be better?
Better. Define better.
Who's going to be more competent? You hope the 50-year-old is slightly more competent than the 5-year-old. You hope. But is that the case necessarily? What if they never knew they had the strength? And they never put energy into it, and they just never found it? Yeah, so when I took the assessment, I got a strength called relator. And I was like, what the hell is a relator? No one has ever told me that I have a strength of relator. Like, what is that? So I had to read about it, and it said, have lunches with people. One-on-one lunches. I'm like, really? This is a strength? Have one-on-one lunches with people. Okay. And relator is all about one-on-one engagement, sitting down and having a coffee, getting to know the person, having that interaction. And apparently, that's a strength. So I started trying it. And I've got discipline. So I've also got intellect, which means I like to test stuff. So I set aside a month, and I disciplined, set up one-on-ones at the current company I was working at, was CSC, Computer Science Corporation. And I stopped working through my lunches because I'm achiever number 1. And lo and behold, I had friends. And I was happier, and I was more engaged, and I knew who to go to for certain things, and I was more productive because I could go to this person, and I could go to this person, and I built this network, and then I had fun coming to work every day because I had friends, and I didn't realize how important that was to me to have people at work that I really cared about and that cared about me.
Follow-up question with that, with the relator.
Yes.
They get the EQ.
Yes.
Does that mean, does that guarantee they also have empathy?
So relators actually, so it depends how you define empathy. So Leo's asking questions about emotional intelligence, right, which are really good questions for StrengthsFinder. So relators will appear to be empathetic to the outside world. They will appear because they care. They really care about people. They really, really care. And they can learn about people and they can ask a lot of questions. Do they feel what you're feeling? Nope. I can attest to this because empathy is at the bottom of my strengths and relator is at the top. I cannot feel what you're feeling. Somebody told me a horrific story the other day and I just stared at him because I'm like, I don't know what that's like. I've not been in your shoes. It sounds awful. But I don't know what to do right now. I don't know if I'm supposed to touch your hand. I don't know if I'm supposed to give you a hug. I don't know if I'm supposed to empathetically do something. Like, I don't know. Until I've been in those shoes, it's hard for me to relate, right? So relators are more logical. We relate things together. Relate. We bring people together. It's a little bit more logical, but we care deeply. So someone might say, oh, that person's so empathetic. Well, maybe. Now, an empath feels it. Does that mean they're an intelligent empath? Not necessarily, right? They can feel it, and they may take it home with them at night, and it may just kill them. Well, that's not useful, right? If you take it to the point where you can't even use it or can't be around people, then what's the point of having all that empathy? Does that make sense? But some empaths have learned how to really help and understand and be empathetic towards people and use that. We have one on the phone. Well, you'll see it. Let me say, I'll reveal it here to you in a little bit. High empathy, but with the other strengths, has learned how to use that productively in an environment to bring empathy to teams of people that might not have much empathy, like IT, right? You don't find empathy very much in IT teams. Okay? Does that help? Yeah? Okay. All right. If you speak a different language, I know some of you speak different languages, they do have StrengthsFinder in other languages, and I recommend that people take it in their home language if you can, okay? You'll have better results. And then you get this nice report. I just wanted to show you what you guys get and you get a lot of other things too. You get the ebook, you can read through the book on all the strengths, and you get all kinds of material, but essentially you get this report. There's also an app on your phone called Gallup Access. Tressie, will they have, I sent you guys a PDF today of all of this. Will you post it somewhere for everyone to get? So wherever you guys go to get PDFs, they'll have all of this. So you guys will have all of this information after this session, okay? And then there's also a YouTube channel, so you can go out to YouTube. You can listen to other people that have your strengths and see what they're doing with them. You can listen to other people of strengths you don't have and try to start understanding them a little bit better. And then there's lots of books to read around strengths-based stuff. Strengths-based selling, strengths-based leadership, strengths-based everything, right? Okay, so if each of you has a total of 34 strengths from 1 to 34, meaning the top are your actual strengths and the bottom are things you don't think about, and we take just the top 5 and we put them in a particular order, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How many combinations are there of those? She said, I ain't doing math. I love it. She's just tossing those weaknesses easily. I'm done with them.
Strong.
Anybody strong at math? So that's the combinations. What about if you put them in order? Oh. That's closer back there. Okay, 33 million. So that means that every single person in here today, look around, is 1 in 33 million, just looking at your top 5 strengths in order. And the order matters because you will always choose 1 over 5. In a situation where you can use both, you will always choose 1 over 5. Unless you're intelligent enough to be able to go, I'm not using this intentionally, and I'm going to use this right now for a particular reason. Okay? But you have to know the strengths, you have to know yourself, you have to really get self-aware to be able to do that. Naturally, you'll always choose 1 over 5. How about all 34? You're a star. You're a star in the sky. okay? 2.59 times 10 to the 30-something power, something like that. We're incredibly unique, you guys. Humans are complex. Approximately how long do we live? 100 years? Divide that number by 100. That's how many lifetimes we have to live to find somebody just like us. It's crazy. So when you're dealing with humans, you're never going to find people that are the same. You're never going to be able to lump them, right? You're never going to be so, oh, just because you have this, you have this. No. No, everybody is different, and you have to ask, and you have to learn uniquely what matters to each person, how they think. Okay? And the thing about strengths is it gives you the language to be able to do this. Safe, it makes it safe, right, to talk about it. Okay? So Gallup puts all of these strengths into leadership domains. So we have strategic thinkers, right? People who think to think. They just think. They like to think, so they think. There's no reason other than the fact that they love to think. We go to them because they think. We say, hey, I need your thoughts. Give me your thoughts. I have some questions. And they say, absolutely, here are my thoughts around this. Okay? We go to the executionists because they get stuff done. Right? They go and they get stuff done, and you're like, hey, you get stuff done. You keep getting stuff done. Let me just keep giving you stuff because you get stuff done. We also look at them because they learn how to do things really well. Right? They have focus. They have discipline. They automate things. They make things fast. It's like, wow, how do you do that? Now, what if somebody had strengths in the execution, but they didn't have any in the thinking? Does that mean they don't think? No. But what do they think about? They think about their execution, how to get it done. Does that make sense? So the executioners don't think to think, but they think about the execution. Okay? Then we have these people down here in orange that just love to get people to do things. Trustee's laughing. They just love it. They think about it. They think about, how do I get this person to do this thing? Like, how do I influence? How do I, you know? Yeah, I don't think about that at all. I don't think about how do I get somebody to do something, you know, do you do that? She's pointing at you. But they're your salesmen, right? They're your salespeople. Sometimes they're labeled as lazy. Sometimes, right? Because they're getting other people to do stuff all the time for them. Right, Leo? Just get other people to do it. Okay? But they can get people to do it. They're great negotiators. They're great selling things. They're great making that first step happen. Okay? And then you have people who are natural relationship builders. They build the long-term relationship. They take the time. They make people feel safe. You go to those guys because they have good intent towards you. They care about you. They want to do the right thing for you. They want, you know, what's best for you. So you go to that person for that. So whether the person is leading at work or in your friendship or in their family or in their community or at, you know, and a volunteer, like we all lead in some way at some point in our lives. Okay, could you have all four leadership styles? Yeah, you could have all four. If you had all four, what kind of job do you need? Ask a lot of trick questions. You need a job where you can do all four. Right? If you have all of them in one, and yes, I have seen that. If you have all of them in one, guess what kind of job you need? One that does a lot of that thing. Doesn't ask you to do too much of the other thing. Is this helping? Okay. Whew! The fun part. We actually get to look at people. Do you guys know Tressie? She's the blonde right here. Beautiful blonde. What is Tressie good at? She can get you to do something. She can get you to do something. And you're going to be happy about it. Right? Because she builds that relationship, makes you feel nice and safe, and then says, yeah, by the way, can you get this done while you're at it? Absolutely, Tressie. We love you. Okay? What about Mike up there? Mike's on the phone. He wasn't feeling too good today, so he's at home listening on the phone. What do you see in him? Natural relationship building. But what does he have that Tressie doesn't have? In the top 5, let me just put that out there, in the top 5. Yeah, he has a lot of thinking. He does a lot of thinking. He does a lot of thinking. We're like, man, you think a lot, Mike. Right? Builds a relationship, thinks. Builds a relationship, thinks. Does he sell? Probably not his area. Probably not the best thing for Mike to go try to pursue is a job in sales. Could he do it? Could he sell? Yes, he could. He would have to be more strategic about it. He would have to think about how to quickly build a relationship and use his strategic thinking to get somebody to buy something. He'd have to work pretty hard at it. He'd have to really try, but he could do it. If we were all a call center right now, we're all picking up phones. Everybody got a phone right in front of you? Get ready to pick up your phone. How are you going to answer the phone? What's your goal? Are you going to get through it as fast as you can? Are you going to take your time? Are you going to extend it because you're having fun? You know, how you're going to interact, how you're motivated is completely different than the person next to you. How you're going to speak. Are you going to listen? Are you going to ask questions? Or are you just going to tell them what they need and get off the phone? We're all completely different when it comes to how we do things. And this is a good way to understand how all those people on your teams look at the world and how they go about doing things. What about Brandy down here? This is me, by the way. Execute, 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 execute. Okay? So I teach fitness classes. Anybody like to work out? You can imagine how my fitness classes are. Right? They're pretty hardcore. They're pretty intense. If you want a good workout, you go to Brandy's class. Okay? Because she executes to the umpteenth power. And I excel in that environment because that environment says we need somebody that can execute with intensity for 60 minutes. And I'm like, I'm your girl. And they want me to do it over and over and over and over and over. Guess what else I have? Consistency and discipline. So it's easy for me. Feels good. That's my zone. Okay? So now we have strategic thinking Mike, execution-oriented Brandy, influencer Tressie, and we all have some amount of relationship building skills. So as a team, we're looking pretty dang good, yeah? So as a person, do I need to be well-rounded? No. I need to know what my strengths are, and I need to put my energy there, period. As a team, do I need to be well-rounded? It depends. That's always the answer here. It depends. What if I have a team of people that are in a, what are those lines called in manufacturer lines? Assembly line. And they're doing the same thing. They're tying knots, tying knots, tying knots. I might need the same skill set across 50 people. Execution, maybe no thinking involved in that, tying knots. No influence, just execution. Does that make sense? So it depends. What does your team need? What does the department need? What are the needs? And do you have that? And then you have to go, okay, here are my needs. Now here are my people. Are those aligned or do I have gaps? Do I have the people to take care of the need? Or do I need other people? Or do I need to partner? Or can we take what we have and actually make something of it to fill this need? So you got lots of options of how to take care of it, but you have to look at all of them. Go. Okay? I wanted to compare us to Gallup just to see, and I also wanted you guys to see the Gallup numbers. So out of 22 million people, there's a nice mix of the three, right? The purple is execution, the green is the strategic thinking, and the 30% is relationship building. The influencers are hard to find. They're just not as available. So if you have influence, you got to use it because they're in demand. Okay? All right. I also like to put the strengths. Do we have a clock in here so I can know where we're at? I'll get back to you guys. 6:30. That's what I thought. 30 minutes. Okay. Good. We're trucking along here. Okay. So I like to put the strengths into work cycle as well because I like to know who are my natural directors, who just set that direction easily, who are my natural facilitators and collaborators and moderators, you know, who are my idea people who think really outside the box easily, who are my innovators, so they might not start the new idea but they innovate really well with, you know, they take something and they make it into something more. Who are my really super organized people, right, maybe project manager, who I laugh at that every time I say it because I have two organized and I hate project management. But most other people that I've met love project management that have organization skills. And then you have your natural people managers, and when I say people managers, I just mean people that manage the relationship. They manage down, they manage up, they manage sideways, okay? And then you've got your quality assurance. So people in this seventh zone here are people who love to test and make sure everything is right and accurate. And then you get people who are in the finishing zone. Could some of these cross lines? Absolutely. Let's take a maximizer. Maximizer kind of falls up into that moderation because they usually make great coaches. However, if you have maximizers surrounded by all kinds of quality assurance and finishing, they might maximize quality assurance and finishing, not people. So that could be maximizing on the back end rather than the front end. It just depends. So you have to look at all of them. So my point is you can't just look at a single strength and define somebody. You have to look at all of their 5 to 10 strengths to really get a good understanding of what they care about. Okay, so let's look at us. This is Mike. What is Mike wonderful at? Another trick question. People. He's great at people. Off the charts. Great. Okay, what else is he good at? Innovation, thinking, taking something and turning it into something more. And moderation, okay? Facilitation, moderation, and that's what he does here at Sabre, right? He helps teams by coaching them and helping them do the thinking for them, and he builds a lot of relationships to do it. He facilitates those things, those relationships, and those discussions. He has 3 zones. Does that matter? He just needs to know them. He just needs to know the 3 zones, and lucky for him, he gets to function in 3. Some of you function in 5, and it's a lot harder for you to know what to do when you fill in 5 zones. And then if you look at your top 10 strengths and you fill in all 8 zones, I don't. I double up. I have my top 5 and 4, and then I just add to them in the next 5. So I know exactly where I sit, okay? I don't have to worry about the other stuff. I know somebody else is better at it. So everybody's a little different. We have to look at that too. Let's look at another person. Look at Tressie. So she's a little different. She's still got innovation like crazy, right? But and she's got that moderation with the includer, but she's also got this super creative. Do you guys remember how often self-assurance is found? 5%. You got good memory. She's got input strength up here. 5%. So it's extremely rare for us to get to see somebody with self-assurance. So this is awesome. And then she's got the achiever on the end. So when we look at Tressie, we go, interesting. So you should collaborate, innovate. I missed one. Collaborate, create, innovate. Collaborate, create, innovate, and get things done. Collaborate, create, innovate, get things done. You skip that other chunk, which is the organization, the people management, and the quality assurance. Someone else can do the operational side of things. You're going to function kind of in the middle zone, maybe selling some stuff, probably working with people a lot because you have both the relationship building and the influence, which is all people related. But then she's got this little internal achiever that just loves to get things done too, okay? Here I am. All that execution, right? Super organized, super collaborative when it comes to teaching, right? Learning and teaching, consulting, and then also a little bit of that quality assurance through the discipline and making sure processes are set up right. Intriguing, yes? Because we're all different on a leadership style and we're all completely different in the work cycle. But when you put us together, we cover a lot of ground. We cover a lot of ground as a team. There's one thing we're missing. We don't know where to go. We just need someone to help tell us where to go. Once that direction is set, then we can drive it. Okay? So you have strategic thinkers out there that are saying, we need to go here, and here's why. And we're going, okay, we're on board, let's go. Make sense? Other than that, we cover everything. Okay? And we cover it in different ways, right? We've got innovators who are innovating in different ways. Innovating through relationship building, innovating through influence, innovating through strategic thinking. Okay. Any questions about this? Yeah.
Go back to you.
I'm this part of it, the equation.
Right. I'm just surprised that there's no creation.
So, Leo says, Brandy, I know you as kind of creative. I'm surprised, right? I have intellection right at number 7 as well. So, one, I'm a learner. So if I want to learn things, then I'm able to do it through that. And learners can be kind of creative because we're process improvement oriented, we're continuous improvement oriented, so we'll always be trying to make things better. So then there's some creativity that can come along with that. So that one can leap into some different zones. But yeah, I don't know why. And
Not creative unless you have to.
And I'm also not creative, so I'm not creative like coming up with brand new things. I use other things. Everything you've seen, I've seen before somewhere. So I go, and when I see something I like, I go, oh, I like that. Let me take that and let me use that. So it's the innovation part of it that comes in. It's the intellect part that drives some of that creativity as well. For me, yeah. Where like super creative people will come up with like really eccentric ideas. I've never come up with an eccentric idea in my life. You know, it's always been something I've learned or I've heard of or seen. Okay. All right. Then, this is the kind of poster I look at when I look at somebody's strengths all together. And we see, you know, their leadership domain, which we've talked about. We see their work cycle, which we've talked about. And now what I want to do briefly here is run you through how I look at someone's strengths when I'm working with them to help them really understand their strengths. So I say, okay, Mike's got connectedness. He can connect the little bit with the bigger picture. He can see all the little things that are going on and how they impact that bigger picture. He cares about the social impact. He cares about if what you are doing is actually healthy for you and if it's healthy for the overall bigger picture of the team and the organization. You see this strength a lot in architects, actually, because technical architects will look at all the little bits, doing the programming, and then connect it to that bigger picture of the product they're actually trying to build and how that impacts the person that's going to be using it. Okay? But now I've got to go, but what does he connect? Like, I know what the strength is by itself, but what does he connect? He connects empathy with everything. So everything he's doing, he's connecting empathy and the feelings associated with the things that he's looking at. He also has empathy around connecting. So his approach in connecting is going to be through empathy. Okay? Then I look at input, the next one, which is input, and I go, okay, so he loves information, he craves it, he looks at the internet every single day getting information off the internet, looking up something, and these are usually your subject matter experts that know all of the information about the thing that they're studying. What do you think he primarily studies? Empathy, how to connect things, right? He's also going to study how to think, psychology type stuff. He's also going to get information around how to be inclusive. Okay. He's also got intellection. He loves to think. He just thinks to think. He loves to look at this side of the argument, loves to look at this side of the argument. Maybe it's this, maybe it's that. Just loves to have that internal debate, or maybe that's external debate. You might not know where Mike really truly stands because he can see every side of it. He can see this person's side. He can see this person's side. He can see this. And when I'm speaking, guys, I'm deliberately saying this person's side because he has relationship building in his top 5. So I know that when he's looking at these different angles, he's actually looking at other people's thought process and whatnot, okay? And then he also has includers, so he's extremely inclusive. He's inclusive of thought. He's inclusive of information. He's inclusive of feelings. Okay, you see how all of that's coming together? So we can actually figure out what Mike's brain is doing all day long with all of these different combinations. Is it true about Mike? Do you guys know Mike? Is it spot on? It is. Yeah, it's amazingly accurate. Good job in taking your assessment, Mike, because it's very accurate. And what are these little stars behind his strengths? So, let's see if I can remember them. When empathy and input are found together, they're intensified. I can't remember the others. He's got all kinds of intensifications of the pairings, that when you find the strengths together, they're intensified. So, Out of Tressie and Mike, I would have thought, Tressie, Mike, and me, I would have thought we were more intense than Mike. He's actually more intense than us. Because what he's intense about is the relationship and the information, which is fascinating. But he wouldn't come off that way. We would, because what is known societal as intense is drive. And she and I are both very driven. Okay? All right. Mike's just driven in other ways. He's driven in thought and driven in relationships. Does that make sense? Okay, so here's Tressie. She's also got intensification when you have includer and woo paired together, right? Woo is that social butterfly and woo is the inclusiveness, then it's intensified. Okay, because it's bringing all those people you just met in. Super inclusive. Okay. And so when we look at you, Tressie, we're going, oh, you're highly adaptable, you're highly flexible, you go with the flow, you know, totally just like whatever, just make it happen. People who have adaptability are great in emergency situations because an emergency happens, you're like, hey, it's cool, let's just shift gears, let's just take care of it, let's just do this thing, it's okay. Super inclusive, right? And then she has this self-assurance, which is very confident. She feels very, very confident, especially when it comes to her ability to adapt or including others, for example. And that self-assurance is your presence. And other people think, God, if you know what you're talking about and you are confident, then I'm confident and I'm going to go along with you. So that's why it's naturally influential to be self-assured. And when she doesn't feel self-assured, when you challenge that and you give her a nugget that she's like, woo, I don't feel confident, she immediately does whatever it takes to get to a place to feel confident again. Which is very opposite of Mike's intellection, which just questions everything, right? Question this, question that, question this, question that. What about this? Well, it could be this. Well. Totally different than, no, it's this. We're going this way. This is the right way. Make sense? And then you have woo, which is also that highly flexible, innovative, get people to just, win them over really quickly. So you step into a room, social environment, say, hello, everybody loves you. I don't know how you do it, but it works. And then you have achiever, which is that internal drive of just going and getting things done. Okay. Any questions for Tressie? She in the room today? You guys all tired? Gray day? Okay. And then
Your real, is that what your real results look like?
Yeah, that's my goal.
Why do you ask that?
Do you feel like it is what it is, or you feel differently, or something that you don't feel?
I feel like for the most part it's right. I was a little, because I had so many influencing, even in my 34 results, a lot of influencers were I don't think I'm that influential. But like Brandy said, it does make sense that I don't have that adaptability, that if I get uncomfortable, I readapt and get into a better situation. So.
Yeah. And to feed on that, I don't think I'm execution is I just have been me. It's only when you start comparing yourself to other people that you start going, maybe I am influential. Maybe I really am able to do this. And then when you start reading books and you're getting better and better and better, you go, oh, I learned this a lot faster and I implement this a lot faster than other people. That's when you'll start taking a lot more ownership of, oh, I'm highly influential. And then you're going to be like, and I'm going to use it. Because you are. Like she said, she has huge amounts of influence in the top 15.
Excuse me for throwing this in, but I think she's extremely influential. And I've witnessed it over in hospitality division. She really connects people together, and I think she has high goals and aspirations of what she wants to influence, and so she's never satisfied. But I think she's very influential because she's brought people in to make things happen and make things change. And I think she's been one of the most active, effective people in her role.
Thank you, Mike. That's helpful. Okay. There you have it, validated. And then I'm intensified on my consistency discipline. Of course, achiever, learner, relator, we kind of talked about mine earlier. Love to achieve, love to learn how to get things done, love to learn about people, right, about relationships, and then I consistently do these things and I do them disciplined as well. Right, so it's just high execution. Okay, any questions for me? Yeah.
Kind of in general around the intensifiers, are there any situations where they might clash?
Like within myself or with others? What do you mean by that?
In
So I do see, so like for example, I'll see somebody that has adaptability and consistency. You never see that. It's like, I don't get it. How are you super flexible and then you're super consistent? That doesn't make any sense. So then I have to talk to him and say, how does that work for you? When are you consistent? Are you consistently adapting? Are you always adapting your consistency? Like, how does that work? You know, and it's like that conversation to figure out for them when they are consistent and how, and when they are adaptable and how, and maybe they have a consistency in their structure, but they don't mind the change either. I don't know. Like, you have to ask whenever you see some things pop up that aren't very normal. Because they are on a spectrum. Like, for example, you will almost never, I mean less than 0% of the time, will you see maximizer and restorative both in a person's top 5. Because restorative is looking at the problem, and maximizer is looking at the top elite high performing that you can just maximize. I have met one person, I can't even believe it, because it's less than 0%. It's like, or less than 1%, something like 0.4% or something. But there's a guy I met, and it's great. He goes and he's a developer too in StrengthsFinder. So he goes in his backyard and he develops all these plants and all these structures, and then maximizes them and takes them to this really beautiful looking thing. So he like builds stuff and restores it, and then maximizes it as well. He does both, and he likes both. Yeah. Good question. Okay, and here we all are to Trusty's point. So Mike, Trusty, and Brandy, you can see us. I find this, this view fascinating because you can see Mike has all those blue relationship building all up in the top up there. And you can see that Trusty has all those orange, right up there in the top, and Brandy has all these purple. You can see Brandy's relationship building is a little low, right? Luckily, I have Relator and Harmony up there, and those are my 2 that I just cling to with all my life to build relationships. Because if I didn't have them, I would be going without you. Okay? And we can see that Trusty's green is down here a little bit, so that makes Mike a pretty good partner for her, right? Because he has all that strategic thinking and information and and whatnot that he has a focus on. Now, what does Mike have that Brandy doesn't have? Just look at 1 and 34. I tried to make it easy for you. Yeah, he has both empathy and connectedness, and I don't, as a top strength, okay? So, on one hand, we may be great partners because he has something I don't, and I can respect him, and I can go to him and say, hey, even if I think about this, the results say I don't, so maybe you can help me understand this when I need to think about this. And then, on the other hand, we might not get along at all because I don't have what he needs, empathy. I don't have the ability to connect that well like that through connectedness. And he has it in spades and has a need for it. So then we got to go, okay, well, Brandy, do you have any connector strengths with his strengths? Absolutely. My relator connects with his empathy. So now we have a connecting strength. Okay, so even though we have, I don't have connectedness and I can't think like that at all, we can still come together around empathy and relator and build the relationship. He's also got intellection, and I have intellection, and those are 2 that like to debate and talk and go back and forth, so that's good. And I have learner, and he has input, so we're like, okay, we can connect here. So we've got some things that are connecting, but then he's got includer and woo, and I don't have those either. Like, I am not a wooer at all. And so relators and woo typically don't get along because woo can be kind of surface level. They can be out there and be going, hey, let me win you over, goodbye. Hey, let me win you over, goodbye. Hey, and the relators are like, no, I want a deep, close relationship, and I want to hang out, and I want to do things together. But he's got empathy, so now we can have that long-term relationship that builds out for a long amount of time. And I'm not just getting the influence from the woo, I'm getting the long-term relationship building. So people are super complicated, and when you're looking at a team of people, guys, you got to look for how do these people connect? What are they going to do well together with? Where are they going to clash? Trusty and I have achiever, which means if we're on the same page and we're achieving towards the same goal, we're good. We are happy, right along next to each other, and we are going, and we're super excited. If we're going in different directions, we might have a little headbutt, because I'm going and she's going, and it's not the same direction, and we might not want anything to do with each other at that point in time. So it's so complicated and it's so complex how all these things come together. What else do you guys see? Anything else that's interesting? You guys tired? Trusty and Mike have includer both. Right? So they're never going to exclude each other. They're always going to feel included. That's nice. Happy for y'all. Sorry if I leave you out. Sorry.
I was really surprised that all the strategic thinking was so low on my list.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you've got your analytical. But again, your thinking is going to be around being flexible. It's going to be around, winning people over. It's going to be around how to get people working together. So if you're in that kind of role, then it's perfect. But you may not be thinking about where Sabre should go. Where should Sabre go over the next 20 years? You might not be thinking about it at all, where a futurist is going to be all over that. What kind of strengths do you have to be a leader, a director, a VP, a CEO? It doesn't matter. Amazing. They're all different. They're all different. Lisa Schwab here, I don't know if you guys know her, all relationship building and one influence maybe. I've seen greenies, I've seen blues, I've seen oranges, and I've seen purples. Doesn't matter. All that matters is they've learned how to maximize their strengths, and they've learned what their weaknesses are, and they've learned to leverage all the people around them to make it work for them and to lead effectively. Doesn't matter. They're 1 in 33 million, just like we are. Are there strengths that are inclined towards certain things? Yes. Strategic, number one, most of the time entrepreneur. They can't help it. They got to run their own thing. But not all the time. I've met some strategic number ones that have zero interest in entrepreneurship. So, okay, we got to be getting close. What time are we? Okay, so I'm just going to give you one more model so that you can stick it in your brain, and we'll be done for tonight, okay? And I'm sorry, it's like almost the same colors, because these guys had different colors, and then Gallup switched their colors this year. And when Gallup switched their colors, they switched them to these guys' colors, which is really annoying for someone like me, because now I don't know what to do with this. But anyway, it's a completely different model. So you got to kind of like shift your brain now, because colors are different, strengths are different. Or the strengths are in different zones, which is just confusing. But these guys, Core Clarity is in Plano, Texas. And they said, we just want to look at it differently, and we want to look at it for teams specifically. So they said, who are my introverts? They said, who are my extroverts? Sorry, I'm moving around. Is that the camera's having to follow me? These are my super motivated, driving, go-get-em people. And these are my interactors. They just like to interact. They like to have back and forth, okay? They're not necessarily like intense go drive, but they're, they have their own intensities. It's just going to be around connecting and interacting. So interact internally is here. Interact externally is up there. So a lot of these people will tell me, I'm not extroverted. I'm like, one-on-one you are. And they're like, oh yeah, I am actually, when I'm one-on-one, okay? Highly motivated by external things, like people. And highly motivated, but doesn't need anybody. He just has an internal list and goes. They say that if people have the same circle set, they're going to get along well. They're going to work well together. If they don't, they may have some struggles. You may have to coach that. You may have to navigate that. You may have to talk about it. in the class, when I took it, they sat me right next to somebody with almost the same circle, and it was great. And then halfway through the class, they sat me next to someone that was totally different, and it was hard. I appreciated her. She was eccentric and creative, and I thought she was lovely. But I did not connect with her at all. I just didn't. Okay, so this is an easy way for you guys to run people's strengths through the model and just see who may be who may work well together, who may not, if you're more of a data person rather than an intuition person. Okay, I've got all the stuff listed in here for you that you can go over. Mike's what they call a bridgineer. Okay, so you can read about what a bridgineer is. But he's all on that interaction side. He likes to interact with people. He likes to interact in his head. Interact with people, interact in his head. Not necessarily a driver to go get things done. And he doesn't need people to be motivated like that. He just needs them to connect with them. Where Tressie has, yes, let me connect with you, but also I'm motivated by people as well. Like if you sit at home, you're going crazy. You go, okay, I can sit at home for a while, but I also need to be out and about among the people. Because she's also got 3 introverted strengths. Super driver, let's go, let's get things done. I don't want to talk. I've had enough, so you probably have some times where you're like, I want to connect and I want to be among the people and I want to do this, but I need a lot of time to also just go and get things done, right? And I'm similar to you. I have a lot of internal drive. I'm introverted. If you can believe it. I look very extroverted up here, but what am I doing right now? I'm teaching. Okay? So that strength kind of becomes more extroverted when I'm in a teaching aspect. But let me tell you, I'm going to go sit in my car and be quiet for a long time after this. Okay? So none of us are the same. Uh-oh. None of us are the same. We have the ability to connect in certain areas. Okay? It's not too different. But we also may have to just figure out how to work together. Okay? All right, so cultivate your strengths, right? Experiences are your windows. If you don't try new things, you will never know what you like or you don't like. That's broccoli. You guys like broccoli? Do you not like broccoli? You don't know until you try it, right? You smelled it, you looked at it, but was it until you put it in your mouth when you knew if it was okay or not? Okay? Intentionally align your strengths with an environment that needs them. Because if you are consistently giving something that is not needed, you will be crippled. And you will feel awful, and you will feel not confident. For those of you who don't know this reference, Superman and kryptonite kills Superman. And this is a jail cell made out of kryptonite. Kind of looks like green fluorescent lights to me, but I think it's meant to be kryptonite. Love what you do, love the people you work with, and love amazing leaders and cultures. So when you guys are trying to find places, you got to find people that you love working with. You have to find cultures that you love being a part of and towards a purpose that you love doing. You have to find managers and mentors that you love being around, teammates that you love being around. If any of these things are not aligned, it's not great. And if multiple of those things are not aligned, it's awful. Okay. You also, in this packet, have just a list of the strengths. That's the link down there that you can get to it. You're going to have balconies and basements, which tells you what it feels like. Not that you don't know, but it tells you what you feel like when you're in an environment that's great, feels great, and then when you're not, feels awful. This will just kind of help you contextualize that. Everything I do, I give 10% to OUR, which is an organization that saves human trafficked children. They go out there and they get them and they prosecute the people who are doing that. And that is it. That is all I have for you tonight. Thank you. Any other questions?
How about strength finders for dating?
That's a whole other topic. Victor.
One period thought seems like you went through information regarding code clarity, but I did see the reference to code clarity. So code clarity is not part of...
No. Core Clarity is a completely different company. They got permission from Gallup to do this model. And so they created a new model, and they created a new way. They even have their own certifications. They use program you can go through. They're just as expensive as Gallup. Yep. And they have their own coaches and their own clients, and they do their own thing.
I have a question.
Yeah.
My boss bought me this book a couple of years ago.
Okay.
And I read first chapter or so.
Yeah.
And I haven't taken the assessment.
Okay.
Based on what I remember from Myers-Briggs.
Yeah.
Which I took, I think, about 20 years ago. And my experience there is I remember coming out of it thinking, or questioning the results. And not what it said about me, but I was questioning whether I assessed myself accurately.
Sure.
Was I answering how I really feel and what I really think?
Yeah.
Or was I answering in how I wanted to be, the
Right.
person I wanted to be?
Right.
So that's kind of, I'm hesitant to do this because I want to do it.
Yeah.
But I want accurate results.
Exactly. So, but
It's not that you want to cheat the test, but.
I know, I get what you're saying. Right. So this is such a good question. And by the way, this is a very intellectual thing to do what he's doing. So to me, it tells me he's got intellection in his top 10. But basically what you need to do when you take the assessment is just go, who am I, regardless of situation, regardless of when I'm at work, regardless of when I'm at home and family, regardless of social expectations of parents, like just shut all of that off and just be like, who am I, like, what do I like? What do I enjoy? What engages me? You know, and what the test does is it says, do you like this or this better? And you go, well, I like this better. And if you're just honest with, I really, like no one's gonna see these results. I like this better. I really like this. Everybody wants me to like this. I like this. And you answer it that way, it will come out perfect. You like these things. These are the things you're engaged in most. These are the things, this is the way your brain thinks. It also looks at how long it takes you to take the assessment. People that take a really short time are more like activators, or people who take a really long time are deliberative, and they ask questions multiple times until they get it right. So they'll just keep asking it until they've got that order. So it's hard to cheat this test, although I've seen it, right? I've seen people go in and go, oh, I'm strategic, I'm smarter than the assessment, so let me mark what I know, people or whatever. And then they get crap results, and it aligns terribly with what they're trying to do, and it doesn't work. You know, I had a kid one time, he took, right out of college, took it, and then he didn't like his results, so he took it again and got different results, and then he took it again and got different results, and he took it again and different results, and I told him the same thing. I said, you need to just take it for you, man. Like, we can't work with this. We have to work with just you. He got the exact same results the first time, in order. So, you know, the first time they do a pretty good job of getting it, because you don't really know what you're in for. You can't, it's hard to, you know, to maneuver it. So, try it. Just go for it. Huh?
More than likely, it's accurate.
It's pretty accurate.
Yeah, even if you wasn't thinking about what his situation was, he would still choose his state for his partner.
Yeah, and they make a time limit on each question because they don't want you doing that. They don't want you overthinking it. They want you saying, what's my natural instinct? And they want you going off your gut versus your overly thought process, right? Of, well, when I'm here, I do this, and when I'm here, I do this.
Yeah, try to think back to the situations that they're in.
Yeah, but that's just a very intellect thing to do, is to be introspective.
So it may be helpful to try to move quickly.
Just go with your gut, like, and just be honest and go with your gut when you do it. Yeah. I've taken it 3 times and I got the same results every time, but I have a strength of consistency. Anything else, guys? You good? Okay.
Fill out the survey, please.
Yes.
You are not in our distribution list for, sorry.
No, that's what I was going to say. Fill out the survey, please, and if you did not sign in, be sure and sign in so we can send you the PDF slideshows that she presented to us tonight, and we hope to see you back next month.
Thank you.
Thank you.